It's time for today's Face-Off on Fox Soul. Challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
My question is, if we give a woman the right to opt out of motherhood, should we also give a man the right to opt out of fatherhood and 18 years of child support?
I agree. You don't agree?
No, I don't know.
But if a mom walks into an abortion clinic and says, you know what, I'm not feeling this, and gets an abortion, the dad has no say. How come this mom can't? Let's just say it's a one-night stand, just hypothetical, and the mom comes back to the dad and is like, hey, I'm pregnant. Why can't he opt out if she was able to say, hey, I don't want this baby? It's a double standard.
Well, he could obviously sign his rights away, but he cannot physically make
He can't sign his rights away because he has to pay child support.
I mean,
He is legally bound by child support.
That's just the way it is.
I know, but do you think it's right?
You can't tell a woman to have an abortion. Like, that's it.
I know, but do you think it's right that a mom can say, I don't want this baby, but a dad never can?
I mean, I just think that's just the way it is.
But do you think it's right?
I mean,
Yes or no? I don't think it's right. I think the whole system's
We
on
spend
about
so much time talking about a woman's choice.
that. Right, but the man doesn't have one.
But my only point is, what reproductive rights does a man have?
None.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
You know, I think it's interesting hypothetical, Quanell, in that video, but I also think it's a bit nonsense, right? And if you limit it to the one-night stand issue and the woman's ability to choose, which of course it doesn't exist in Texas anymore and doesn't exist in a number of conservative-leaning states that have either completely outlawed access to abortion or all but outlawed access to abortion, which I disagree with, right? Because I think that while I personally am not a fan of abortion, I think the reason that I have a problem with it is because of my personal religious beliefs about the soul, and that I should not impose my religious beliefs on anyone else. And, you know, that's just me. I understand that people disagree with me. But we can pretend that it's not different for men and women, but it is. The woman has to carry the child. Now, I don't think women should get abortions. I think that the children are a blessing. But I also don't think the government should be telling. We saw just here in Houston last week, we saw an illegal abortion clinic lead to some arrests. I was born in '72, so I don't remember the pre-Roe v. Wade era, but obviously back alley abortions and deaths and permanent harm to women were frequent occurrences back then, and I think we're going to continue to see that. But for a man, right, you make the conscious decision to have sex. I mean, you could use a condom and it could break, I guess, but for the most part.
And she could take birth control.
Hold on. I agree, right? But when you father a child, the state has a vested interest in your participation, right? Because if the mother goes and gets benefits, the state's going to want that money back. So I don't see the government ever agreeing to this, right? But it does seem like it's unfair, but the rejoinder is, well, it's unfair that the woman has to carry the baby by herself. It's unfair that so many men feel that it's okay to have a child and not participate in that child's upbringing, that it's okay to just ghost women left and right, that there are different burdens here, and frankly, my view on it is if a man creates a child, he should be obligated not just his money, but he should be involved in that child's life.
Charles, it's wrong for any man to impregnate a woman, then pretend like the woman and the baby don't exist and just get ghosted. It happens
every day in this country.
But let me wake you up.
Okay.
There are women in this country every day who have children from men and want that child support paid on time, but give that father hell in seeing that child. There are mothers right now in this country who make sure that child support check come on time, but when that father wants to visit that child, spend time with that child, that mother will alienate that father from that child and keep that child from that man from excuse after excuse after excuse. Then the man, if he ain't got tens of thousands of dollars to go back into the family courthouse and pay to get access to his child, then guess what? Shit out of luck. Charles, what we asking for and what all men are asking for and what women should be asking for is fairness and equality on both ends.
Well, that's not the question
Not
at hand,
the double standard.
The question
at hand is, should men have also rights and reproductive rights like women do?
Okay.
Because we've talked about this, Charles, on this show.
All right, men can get a vasectomy.
But wait a minute, though. A woman
right.
can get her tubes tied.
Okay.
Okay. Same way he can wear a condom, she can take contraceptives.
Okay.
Charles, my issue here is,
I mean, you're ignoring the reality that the man,
Charles,
despite what all this gender nonsense would say, the man can't carry the baby.
Okay,
though.
so stop right there.
Okay.
So guess what? The man can't carry the baby. She makes a conscious decision to carry that baby. But if that man made it crystal clear to that woman that I don't want a child, I don't want to get you pregnant. If for some reason you get pregnant, then the child is yours.
For some reason.
If you decide,
I mean, you understand.
If some reason
you
you
gotta
get pregnant,
leave it in.
I didn't say somehow.
And you got to orgasm.
I didn't say somehow.
You
I said
for
some reason. Charles,
like it just
at the
trickled
end of the
out
day,
of the air.
the question is, why is it the mother
It
can
just fell
opt
in
out,
there.
but the mom can opt out whenever she gets ready, but not the father?
Well, not in Texas. Not where we're
Charles,
at. You can't opt out.
Charles, when she gets pregnant, she go to an abortion clinic if she wants to.
No, she can't. Not here.
Wait a minute.
Not in Texas.
We're just saying in one country where it's legal.
Okay.
And then she can go and say, you know what? I want to abort this baby. The father can be standing right there with us and say, no, I want my child. Please, I keep my child.
Yeah.
My child's life is sacred. And they tell their father, you have no rights.
Well, the
Charles, that's wrong.
difference is it's
wrong.
the woman carrying the baby.
Is it not a double standard?
Oh, no, I think it's a
double standard.
I think we like to pretend in this brave new world of ours that gender doesn't matter and it's all fluid. But the truth is that women are built different than men, and men are built different, and it's the woman that carries the baby, so she has bodily autonomy. And again, let me say this. I think
but the
soul
man's
is
body included her in getting pregnant. What autonomy does he have?
Well, maybe people should be having sex with people they have relationships with, and that.
I totally agree.
You know,
I believe in a woman's right of choice.
But you brought
choose
up,
who you're going to lay down with.
You brought up
Make that conscious decision.
These women that are not allowing fathers to have access.
There's a lot of them, Charles.
No, hey, I've had women like that that I know.
For real.
It's awful. But the truth is, and how much you want to pretend over there, the truth is that the majority of women want the fathers to participate. The majority of women want the fathers to participate both financially and with their time, and that more often
Charles,
than not,
you're wrong.
it is men.
Majority
it is men
of
that
the
don't
women
pay, and it's men that don't show up.
Majority of the
and
women
you can lie to this
who are not
camera
with the
all
father,
day.
Charles. Nope. Majority of the women who are not with the father are divorcing the father. What they want first and foremost is a check for child support.
That's not true.
That's one. And then two, this is what they want. They want the father to have a relationship with that child based on special conditions put in place by the mother.
Absolutely
and Charles,
not true.
let me tell you something, brother. There are good fathers out here, man, who are busting their ass to take care of these children, provide for these children, and just because the mother don't like the fact who his new woman is, who his new girlfriend is, they tell him, quick, you can't see the baby no more. You can't see the child no more. And then we'll tell that man, well, because you got remarried and I don't like your new wife, the child can't come to your house. So guess what? The child can't spend the night no more. Charles, it's happening all over America. And what we need is equality for both women and men, not a double standard.
So how do you
Let's
achieve
be honest
that?
here, Charles.
You want men to not have to pay child support or participate in kids' life?
That's not the case.
Well, that was the question.
But let me ask you a question.
That's the question. No, that's the question that you're not answering.
In that video, she said that the woman said a man can terminate his rights. That's not true. Right. Even if a man terminates his rights, he's still legally held responsible. He's still legally held responsible for child support.
Okay, you don't think he should?
No man should terminate his rights. But guess what, though? I have seen men, brother, literally contemplate suicide, who are current on child support payments, literally contemplate suicide because the mother just don't like the new woman he with and he can't see his damn child. Charles, who stands up for them, Charles? Who stands up for those men? And Charles, let me say this to you, brother. We need a better system in place that protects both mothers and fathers.
You're not at all answering the question. Do you think men, when a woman has their baby, should just be able to say, yeah, I'm not going to participate and just walk away?
No.
Yes or no?
I don't believe in that, no.
Okay. Well, that was the question.
I don't believe
more
in that.
importantly,
But
you have all these, now hold on. You have all these anecdotes.
Charles,
no, hold on.
There should not be a double standard of rights.
You have all of these anecdotes.
But there should be equal rights for both mothers and fathers, Charles.
But the truth is, it's men that are abandoning their children. That's the big issue in America.
Charles,
and in some communities,
can I share something with you?
Far more exacerbated.
There was a study.
And you want to pretend it's not.
Wait a minute.
Let's talk about fathers in the black community not participating.
There was a scientific study that said single fathers who raise young boys, those young men are less likely to go into the criminal justice system than single mothers who raise single boys.
Agree.
So, Charles, why is it that when these boys become a certain age, we just don't send them to their fathers? Do you know how difficult it is for a woman to raise more than one young boy in a household by herself without a man?
It is because the fathers aren't participating. And
Charles,
you're lying to our viewers.
No, you are lying on fathers.
No, I'm not.
You're lying on fathers.
There are too many fathers that walk
want to
away.
participate. No, most fathers want to participate.
It's simply not true.
Most fathers want to be involved. Most fathers want to spend time with their children. But the problem is most fathers don't want to deal with the personal drama and the personal vindictiveness of a mother who's scorned.
You can always make an excuse not to raise your child. But the truth is in
No
America.
excuse not to do that, Charles.
The truth is in America.
But women in this country have been given way too many rights over men. You got good fathers, Charles, that'll fight like hell for their children, Charles.
There are some great fathers.
And the only thing that they did wrong was find a new woman.
Okay. Again, your anecdotes don't hold up to the data. The data shows that in most one-parent households with a non-participatory parent, it is the mother raising the children alone.
In the black community, 7 out of 10 households.
In the black community,
7 out of 10 households.
It is far worse than every other community.
And welfare created that.
And, well, no, I think welfare contributed to it.
Oh, welfare created it big time.
We have too many fathers that aren't participating. You're pissing and moaning, attacking mothers, but
I'm
you're
not
giving
attacking
fathers
mothers.
a complete
What I'm
pass.
attacking is
All
the
these
inequality.
fathers that just
I'm attacking
have
the
sex,
double
have
standard,
a baby,
Charles.
and roll.
I'm attacking the double standard, Charles. Look, man, there are a lot of men who want to be involved that are being called deadbeat dads, no good dads. And if you really investigated it, you would see those men are not deadbeat. They're not sorry men. It's just that they got to put up with so much bullshit from the mother to where they run away in depression.
There's always an excuse not to raise your child.
And I agree.
But every father should be involved. A real man climbs every hurdle. But the truth is that most men don't have hurdles.
But why should every man just have to climb the hurdles of a vindictive mother?
They don't.
But they do.
Most men,
tens of thousands of men.
The problem is,
of men do it every day.
One-parent households with non-participatory father, it's the dad that chose to roll.
Don't give up. Keep fighting, brothers.
America is either you're gay or you're part of the Illuminati.
Yes.
That's how you make. If you don't have a gay rumor and you don't have Illuminati, you haven't made it yet.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys say in y'all community when a white guy makes it?
No, we say Epstein's Island. We're like, he was on the flight logs. No, but I think what happens is there is this like competition, and then sometimes now that there are these platforms, it kind of gets out.
Right.
And it just comes from people wanting a little bit more.
But here's the thing, though, Schultz, is that 80% of the money that's in circulation was printed since 2020.
So there's a lot more money out right now.
So if they run out, they'll print more.
Yeah.
I'm not taking. See, you can't get mad at results you didn't get for work you didn't put in.
You're speaking logically, but people react off emotion, man. And I think sometimes emotionally, they're just trying to find a reason why they aren't where you are. Making it as a black dude in America.
In this round, here's Quanell X.
Charles, that was a very interesting discussion by Brother Shannon Sharp on his podcast platform, Club Shay Shay. And he was speaking with a comedian, and they were cracking the joke that some black men are saying in America that you cannot make it in America as a black male if you're not gay or part of the Illuminati. Now, let me put that in context. That, to some degree, is true in mainstream media and mainstream entertainment platforms. A lot of the mainstream media platforms in this country are not interested in strong, black, conscious male voices that are heterosexual. There are a lot of left-wing liberal media platforms that they want feministic, gay black men to really be on their platforms. Strong, black, conscious, loving, thinking black men that are heterosexual, they're shunned. Now, in the entertainment industry, it's the same thing. Now, in everyday life, I don't believe that. A black man in America can be whatever he desires to be in this country if he truly has enough faith, he's willing to make the ultimate sacrifices, and he's disciplined. Great self-discipline, strong, unshakable faith, and you're willing to make some sacrifices that are not popular in other people's lives, but you'll make them in your own, nothing can really stop you from being successful. You're going to have obstacles, you're going to have impediments, but those 3 characteristics, if you can master those, you can sidestep them, overstep them, understep them, go around them, if not just crush them all together. So black men in America can absolutely be successful, but we cannot use crutches as excuses, whatever the social crutches may be, as excuses of why we're not being successful in America today. We can be successful, but we got to get rid of some of these excuses.
So I felt like Andrew Schultz made the point that the discussion was, and that was the comedian, you know, he's an essayist.
I never watched him.
An interesting fellow, who I think he was making the point that is something people say when they're envious of other people's accomplishments, right? When a guy sees another guy that he, in his mind's eye, thinks is not as hardworking or not as charming or funny or charismatic, or who he just generally sees as less than, succeed in the media space, that he's got to say, oh, well, he's, you know, performing, he's putting out, he's part of the Illuminati or what. And we do have tremendous gatekeeping in the media industry, right? When I had some people shopping me for some judge shows, I had some high-level meeting, you know, Judge Judy type shows. And I've literally been told, yeah, we're not doing a lot of white male content right now, which, you know, what do you say to that? Well, I can't change this, you know? And I do think that we've seen far more of that type of discrimination in the last 4 or 5 years. Obviously, it is a sea change from decades or centuries of, but you see when, you know, post-COVID, the corporate hiring surge, straight white males were the only ones that weren't getting any jobs. In
so
fact,
where
their
are the straight
employment
black males getting them in
okay,
the media?
Hold on. I'm talking about jobs generally. I'm not limiting it to this media. I just saw an interesting statistic that the New Yorker, the biggest publisher of fiction writing, has not published a straight white male in the New Yorker who was born after 1984, right? That we have just decided that it's being a cisgendered straight white male is somehow a bad thing in America.
I disagree with you. I agree and disagree.
And I'm not talking about people born into money. Obviously, people born into privilege are one thing.
But I agree and
Harvard,
disagree with you.
Yale, all those. As a black male applying, they just. In fact, I just saw new statistics. Scores way down here. Average is way down here.
God-fearing black
Asians
men
and whites way up here.
are not one in this country,
So
Charles.
I do not.
There's a war against all men in America that are God-fearing heterosexual males.
I disagree. I think the discrimination that's tolerated
Charles,
and allowed right now in America.
Y'all been some discrimination for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Black men live for 500.
It's been happening.
In today's Face-Off, up.
Before I finish this video, a little bit of backstory. This happened at Meadow Woods Elementary in Orlando, Florida at a kindergarten graduation. The woman that you saw spitting was upset that the black woman came and sat down by her man and just by her family in general. So this is how the rest of the video went. Y'all tell me what y'all think.
Yes, sir. There's a seat here. There's a seat. There's a seat here.
You can record all day.
There's a seat here. It's okay.
You see? It's not staged.
Look, exactly. We're all sitting. It's all right.
But it's not staged.
You're sitting, sir.
Did I give you permission?
You are right, but
okay, but can you move? Can you move, please?
Oh my God! No, I'm not moving.
I'm not giving you permission to record.
No,
so
I'm not moving. No, I'm not moving.
You have to tell me you're recording. You're not even
No, I don't have to tell.
Kill me.
Wow. I think you spit on somebody, I don't even care what happened, right? I don't even care if that woman came and sat down in between her kids or did something obnoxious, which you can't really tell from the video what set off the altercation. But whether she spit on her just because she didn't want her sitting next to her because she was an awful person, like the white family were awful people, or she spit on her because the African American woman sat in between a group taking a space that was taken by a kid that was up, or some justification. I don't care. You can't spit on people. That woman should have punched her in the face.
But the white guy, he assaulted the black woman too.
Yeah.
By knocking the phone out of her hand.
Look,
then the white wife of his,
insane.
or the white woman of his, threatens to kill her, then spits on her. But I gotta say this.
All over seating.
But I gotta say this.
At a kid's event.
Sister, I hate that happened to you, beautiful black woman. But where in the hell were you raised? Because you're the first black woman I've ever seen let a white woman spit on her and you not beat the hell out that white girl.
Okay, why?
And ain't no what?
Why does that?
That's the first black woman I've ever seen let a white woman spit on her in her face and you not beat the dog shiznit out that white girl? What?
Okay, well, there was a man involved. Maybe she was worried about getting assaulted. Maybe the African-American woman was just a nice lady who sat down on an open bleacher
baby, them
and
days
got
over.
assaulted.
This ain't
Maybe
1940.
She's a grown-up
This
professional
ain't 1930.
woman. Maybe race
This
has
ain't
nothing to do with
1920.
it. Maybe she's a grown-up, grown-up person, and then maybe she went and actually reported it to the authorities.
That sister should have got up and knocked every teeth out that white woman's mouth that she could find.
You ever had somebody
and
spit
then
on
guess
you?
what?
You ever had somebody spit on you?
Look for a black man in the audience somewhere and say, this white man assaulted me too, and let's have a repeat of Mississippi.
Well,
we back on the river.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Like you're back on the river,
seen
Mississippi.
over and over again, women get assaulted by men, and men standing around watching and doing nothing.
And video recording.
It's a new era. But I applaud, I don't know what set all this off, but I applaud the African-American woman for responding like an adult. It was a children's event. It was
Sister,
a
you
children's
should have
event.
got up and beat the dog shiznit out that white girl.
Well, that white woman needs to go to jail. And the man should go to jail just for that stupid neck tattoo.
That's it for the Face-Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.